back at a Marine Lord. He's hungry and waiting. Let's get underway.
Beastyqt obviously wants to go into the grand finals. Tomorrow, we will get into a weird scenario where someone has to play a best of 5 and put the winner a best of 7 after that. That's the massive advantage for the player winning today. You have the rest. You don't have to play 12 games in a row potentially. You can watch the recorded games of your opponent. You can watch the games live and can get a good feel. That's the advantage that you're going into, and you want to secure yourself with that advantage. And that's why VortiX wants to close it out. 2-0 his lead. Double scout opening here for Beastyqt. Wants to get a lot of sheep. Something we don't see too often by an Abyssal player who normally wants to go for a lot of deer. And VortiX actually doing what I said he wouldn't do. Splitting off some villagers into gold very early on.
Yeah, so VortiX, like in this situation, like both of them went for double scout. As you said, it's a bit surprising, more for the Abbasid player, but it's the equity denial. VortiX needs this, especially on a map like Dry Arabia. You can find yourself exposed. I feel like actually, if BC takes enough of these sheep away, he might be inclined to get aggressive early on against the HRE player because he understands that VortiX will be forced to come out from the safety of his TC. As like the strategy that the HRE rely on is they play a condensed economy, protected underneath their primary town center until they're ready for castle, and that's when they start to spread their base out.
Will be interesting. It just feels like the 10-minute timing is where both players like want to be greedy and want to be aggressive at the same time. Beautiful relic spawn, by the way, on this map. Very, very even. They want to contest the relics, but they also at the same time kind of want to boom and don't want to build too much army. And this is the interesting thing. The question also, will we actually get to feudal age? Look at how many sheep Beastyqt is finding. Not the most important thing if you play Abbasid, actually.
I'm just checking what BC's real name is, because I don't think it was Mary, but it looks like his name might be Mary now, because he's got many little lambs there. It's quite the gain. And VortiX, I think he got, like, is that it? Is that really it? My friend, your kebab shop is going to go out of business if you've only got, like, 3 sheep returned to base.
This is one of the most beautiful Aachen shepherds I've ever seen in return, though. Next to town center, wood, gold, and berries. Yeah, I think VortiX takes this map.
We're just moving on, is that it? We're going to sell BC short like that? He got the sheep.
No, I mean, like he offered the map generation. Yeah, I will take it. Not like he's going to win the map. No.
Well, this is what gets interesting, by the
I
way.
didn't want to go that far.
Because I think BC is going to play towards Horsemen here, just because of the relic generation. It's very hard to defend these flanks otherwise. Another play he could make, but it's not that popular with the Abbasids, is to outposts guard the relics. This is especially popular when you play civs like the Mongols or the English up against the HRE. Less so as the Abbasids, so I am expecting a stable opening, or possibly even Camel Archers from Beasty.
Camel Archer is certainly an option. Forces the HRE player into archers, which they typically don't want to do, right? They want to build stables, they want to build barracks, want to use their advantages. Archers, not a great unit to scale into. And then Abbasids, they're happy to go for some men-at-arms to counter those archers, and you already have the infantry for some siege later on. But for now, it feels like VortiX, he doesn't care. He will just adjust what his opponent is doing, how far away, doesn't want to be in the influence of the Aachen Chapel. That space is reserved for farms only, and he will probably adjust to what Beastyqt is showing.
Yeah, so he needs Beasty to show something before he reacts. The issue is, if Beasty plays this right, he could go for something like an archery range early on. Or rather, no, I think the better is actually stable, so I'm going to backpedal myself to my original point, which is if you go for stables first and show horsemen, then VortiX is probably going to be inclined to build spears, and then you have justification for Camel Archers. And Camel Archers with your horsemen will deal with anything that the HREs like to throw at you at that stage of the game. And it also kind of performs a little bit of subterfuge on the later timing for the HRE, which is when you get up in the castle, you mentioned it before, like you want knights. And you don't want to build knights against Camel Archers because they lose 20% of the damage. And that's a big chunk of damage on such a heavy hitting unit. So overall, like if Beasty plays these transitions right, he'll be vastly ahead of VortiX in the first 10 minutes.
Right now it feels like neither player going for too much army. And if we just get to fast castle, and VortiX is crazy good at that, He's just look at
Yeah.
the scouting.
He sees everything. He's just like, he's letting him know he's there as well. He's like, you haven't got military units. You're playing the HRE.
Let's go into it again. This looked a bit like watching a movie. You see where they look at through binoculars?
Yeah, there you go.
Left hand side, right hand side.
Welcome to the Binocular Vision.
in.
Only here on the Golden League channel can you find it.
Nice.
Sponsored by Beastyqt.
Thank you.
There you go.
Not a lot of food income though.
No, so the food's pretty low for Beasty, but he doesn't have to worry just yet due to fresh food stuffs, right? Like, that should have been researched. It's just too efficient not to get straight away. So he doesn't need to float a lot of surplus food yet. Instead, he's going to probably lean heavier on the wood side. He has got the archery range down. I'm expecting camel archers now.
Let's take a look. He's a cutie. What is he going for? One camel archer alone? Well, you could build one horseman, or... But then spearman could be an option.
Like,
Feels like just an undercommitment. One camel archer and then extra town center?
yeah, so the camel archers are a nice roaming unit early on, right? You poke and you prod. The funny part about them up against the horsemen is, like, horsemen will beat them out, but they need a lot because camels are so tanky. They are still good against the camels. Something that I'm really just religious about pointing out at the moment, because I don't know why it works this way. Camel on ease, although it's meant to reduce damage by 20%, it doesn't affect bonus damage. So horsemen do hit camels harder, and it means that they actually negate less damage against horsemen than they would against, say, knights. And this TC, I mean, this TC is really far out as well. He's playing cocky because he isn't expecting VortiX to get aggressive because he has seen no signs of it due to his double scout vision.
Huh. This is still a bit weird to me. Now, 3 prelates in the queue? Oh, this is greedy. VortiX will click up. Okay, give me a prediction. How many villagers are going to build the Regn's Cathedral? He has
13.
25.
13.
13?
I think he wants the timing really tightly because otherwise BC's going to have troops in the field. Oh, no,
Next to
no.
the town center.
No,
Okay, it's
no,
not
stop making me
not
wrong.
Crazy high.
Stop making me wrong. It's only 8.
I would have guessed higher as well. I thought he would pull everyone from berries. I would have predicted 10 then.
I wanted to say, yeah, I wanted to say 10 originally. I was like, I feel like it's going to be even quicker here. But maybe it's just the positioning because it's like the position of it compared to where he's gathering is a little bit inefficient. But yeah, there's
That
still a
outpost
respectable
can't be in
speed.
time. Can it be? Like
Actually-
you mentioned the outpost earlier. Oh, now he pulls wills. Hello!
So can
We
we
need to go
could,
for another prelate maybe.
could we like
You're right.
somewhat... Yeah, it's 16 instead
8,
of 13.
16, let's
but-
average it out at 13.
Yeah, because he had the inefficiency, right? Like, we got to give me some brownie points, guys. I'm like,
Yeah,
my brain ain't that big. Give me some credit. All right, kind of right. And here we go. There's the outpost. So BC is going for this denial play. So horsemen or
Is he
camel
though?
archers at some.
He's going for the outpost play, but not for the denial play.
Well, it denies,
It
but the
will
promise
be
is
way
too
too
late.
late.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not a denial play.
it would have been if he wasn't so slow doing it. But sadly, like, Beasty didn't have the surplus eco he felt. And that feels like a mistake. All 3 of them are going to be gathered up. And the horsemen are going to chase him away. VortiX is about to get the perfect opener here. As he's looking to return 3 relics. That third one, the outpost won't be built quick enough. The wall coming out. The prelate is able to get it just in time.
Oh, that was close though.
But the
We
prelate's
get
out.
at least 2, and that one is in range now, right? We get 1,
Easily.
2 knights on the field.
Well, because what's BC's choice? Does he now have to build another outpost there? Does a prelate not get built quicker? And I think the answer is yes. Or the one who's already gathered can just now go get it.
And those are trying to intercept and run away at the same time. This one, yeah, it's just going to be 3 relics, uncontested. This is
know what?
VortiX dream. Pull everything away from gold, and you're completely fine in this game.
You know what I've never understood? If a monk
Mandarin.
wallows, well, there's many things I don't understand, but if a monk wallows in the middle of a forest and nobody's around, how do we still hear it? We'll leave that question with you for 5 minutes. They've got very powerful lungs, is all I can think. It looks like it's going to be 3 relics. And this is the worst case situation. At the 10-minute mark, VortiX, who's a player who can usually just sit there for a long time, not needing any sort of big booster, is about to have the biggest boost he could ask for. Are you still thinking about that question?
What if a caster is calling GG early, but no one is watching? Is he actually calling the GG early? What is?
No, because they'll erase that from the post-production, because stupid caster
What
shouldn't have
if
been calling
Twitch
it
chat
early.
is wrong, but I didn't read it? Were they really wrong?
They know deep in their heart.
What
Well,
if
I know.
developers are releasing a bad patch, but actually they're not releasing
Here
a
it
patch at
comes.
all?
But we still know that they should have released a patch.
Okay.
Because there's always a whistleblower, Nili, no matter what you do.
Ah, true. Okay.
And
Uh-oh.
I think
Knight.
there's the whistleblower right there. So he just got all the info. Spears, camels, he knows what's coming. So now VortiX can make the transition safely away from his opponent. Oh, he can't get the relic. I mean, it's an unneeded prize, right? He's going to lose the prelate for his
what?
greed. Kobe.
That was quite interesting. Kobe.
Long range right
Okay.
there. I mean, I think there was just a very strong-armed man hurling javelins from on top of that. Not as much fire and arrows. That was a kind of ridiculous one.
Pretty crazy for sure. Okay, Beastyqt. He is 14 villages ahead. Nili Masters, 3 relics in the Ragnar's Cathedral are worth 22.5 villages on gold, though. So
Yes.
we feel VortiX right now has the better economy, has more map control, but Beastyqt is scaling into the better army quite easily here. Can just go mass spearmen, can go mass siege, and VortiX needs to find some answers, is going man-at-arms to address that.
And these knights are really unanswered. Like, you say they answer because of spears, but it's on Dry Arabia, right? And oh my god. Like, wait, I'm confused. Does VortiX's horseman think he's playing Roost? They killed wolves, and now they're killing sheep. So I think they've misunderstood what civ they're playing here. And they will pay a price for it, as they'll get cleaned up. Oh, man. That just made town centers look overpowered, didn't it? 3 horsemen died in 2 seconds, guys.
Low HP one from earlier, and more barracks being added. VortiX, he's playing full feudal age here. That means Beastyqt should probably add archery ranges. I think he needs to play like 3 archery ranges crossbows. And right now it's 2 barracks, 2 archery ranges. I think he can afford more than that.
Yeah, but it's going to ramp up now. Like, they're both in Castle Age, right? So now they're reaching their critical timings. I think VortiX, this is an interesting matchup, actually, because if both sides rely heavily upon spears, they both have edges to rely upon. So for the HRE, you get the move speed buff over your opponent, as well as the ability to tank them up more with a unique HRE tech. But Beasty not only has the ability to build siege in the field, he has phalanx, which allows him to attack with double the amount of spears. This, interestingly, could turn into a perfect Langsnet game with the current compositions that are being fielded by both sides.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind that. Now we see some aggression in the center. Spearmen not really getting the upgrades though. Now we have men-at-arms getting in there in the center. Small interception. Let's take a look at that. And scaring those spearmen away. VortiX will buy himself more time with that.
These boys are faster. Look at them go. This looks intimidating. Like, you don't have an answer yet. And now the knight's right in. It's a freebie.
Oh.
That grinds
And
them all
those
to a
are
hole.
more villagers. No, those are more villagers that can fit in the town center. Economy for Beastyqt will be non-existent. Look at that. 27 idle villagers forced. Could be even more than that now.
Beasty
I think
just...
he could have committed on that town center.
I mean, I think Beasty at this point is just looking in the House of Wisdom to see if there's a clown car upgrade for garrisoning, but sadly not. So yeah, it's just that this is the issue, right? When you're allowed to farm this long, your economy gets so big, there's not enough room to save everyone. And these man-at-arms, these knights become a frustration because you still don't have any armor pierces. Finally, the crossbows come out, but it's so delayed that you're seeing heavy hits here, as VortiX clearly has the efficient economy lead, not only with these holy inspiration, making his current eco count of villages better, but then also the aforementioned relics that he's banked, giving himself 22.5 more villages.
Now expanding a bit further to the other side. That town center, I'm a bit surprised that he's committing that long to it here. Tries to maybe find another angle. I think Beastyqt will be able to defend now, but VortiX has to be happy with his position in this game.
Yeah, this is kind of like conscript the mercenaries, right? If you send your mercenaries on a death mission, do you care? You already pay. Like, you're not going to pay in the end. Obviously, it doesn't work that way in the world of AoE, but it almost feels like it should in the way with HRE because they have so much gold. So for VortiX, like, he's willing to just trade this economy to harass beasties. Even if he only kills like 2 or 3 villages each time, it's the fact that he's stunting the gathering of like half of the Abbasid dynasty's eco. So it's still worth it, because while he's doing that, look what he's doing in his base. He's making that awkward transition to farms.
Yeah, and awkward transition into mass horsemen as well. And he keeps all of them back. He didn't show any of them. Men-at-arms are raiding at the front, some knights raided in the back. And if now Beastyqt thinks, okay, let's move out with some crossbows, well, then he will just get slaughtered, because we already have 13 horsemen on the field.
And he has a lot of spearmen, but like the man-at-arms is an interesting choice coming out of VortiX. It will rinse the spears if he gets the opportunity. But I still feel like some Lanksneck could be the bigger answer, because right now, unless he builds his own siege, whoopsie, little drunk prelate, out looking for some liquor late at night, gets robbed by camels. But unless he finds his way to maybe some Langsneck, it's going to be hard to clear the front line. You can see the effect there. Wraps around, actually engages straight with the crossbows, and look how quickly the front line falls. And the Mangonels, they're targeting a solo horseman here. A lot of freebies given over. VortiX going to chase through. Beastyqt is about to lose the entire army.
Top of the military here, Mangonels are all falling, no more protection, and VortiX sees even in population with 3 relics, that's a massive lead, will find some kills here, and he's going in for a big raid. Beastyqt not having the answers, 12 military to 30, rushes out a keep next to his town center.
Beastyqt, the way this series began, reliance on keeps may end this way as well, as the horsemen are on top of him and they're going to stab them down. This keep taking so long to be constructed, a lot of villages are going to die, and that eco lead is shrinking for Beasty. Keep will at least go up, but at what cost? There's going to be no instant boiling oil. There's only going to be enough room to garrison 15 in here, and it means once again your whole economy is going to shut down, and also that TC on the front is now exposed.
Ooh, but those were also some losses, we have to say, for VortiX. Population still slightly better for Beastyqt. Crossbow still trying to micro. Most of those units are now low HP. Beastyqt still tries to make a defense happen. But look at that, even the relic now kind of presented in the center of the map if VortiX wanted to take another one.
Well, I don't think he needs it. Like, that's, you know, friendly handicap, he says. BC, I won't pick up any more relics. You get them. You can just cover them again. You can keep paying and not getting value out of them because the TC's going down. He's definitely going to be able to burn the mosque as well. And all of a sudden, BC's base is shrinking. And notice this is a big problem because not only is the Abbasids are you losing these critical structures, you're also shutting out your golden ages. As you start to lose these, your structure count that's daisy chained in decreases, and it means you lose those big benefits that you get. Meanwhile, VortiX looking for a bigger benefit of his own. It's time for the Love Hotel, Palace of Swabia being constructed, and it's not going to take him long to get up in Imperial.
Absolutely not. Puts lots of villagers on it as well. 20 villagers behind. Gets a lot of control at the front, and Beastyqt, I think this could actually trigger a tap out because he sees, okay, this is an army I can maybe defend because I have a good economy, I had more villagers early on, so maybe something can still be made. I have a nice civilization that can make stuff happen in Castle Age, but against Imp and infinite amount of villagers of HRE, I think Beastyqt won't have enough options.
Yeah, BC's just like, I can make something happen in Castle. And then he just hears the Imperial, God damn it! My window has closed, and all of a sudden, HRE about to hit that power spike. They have access to Culverins to deal with your siege. They can get the shutter triggers, something you don't have access to. That's before we even start to think about the possibility for Lanksneck coming out. Not that VortiX needs it. He proved how futile Beastyqt's front lines look, how flimsy they can be. And now Horseman looking to raid in the back, understand that Beasty wants to give himself some choke points to defend. And instead, they're going to go looking for economy and look in the bottom corner. There's a lot of exposed eco and no outposts here to defend them. That's a lot of dead villagers incoming.
Oh god, and those horsemen, they don't care how much HP they have. They will just slaughter. Actually, villagers are taking the fight. Oh, that's ambitious.
He pulls them back. But it's dead eco for the moment, right? Like, they're once again not working. Spears are going to chase away, but if you just keep wrapping around, VortiX can keep shutting off his economy for like 10, 15 seconds. You're just like closing the tap every once in a while. And it does become annoying for Beasty.
Oh man, those villagers still having some problems, some of them low HP. The thing is, this is the moment where Beastyqt normally wants to put on the aggression against VortiX, who's trying to catch up in villager numbers. But that's going to be really rough because he had to deal with those raids, had to pull some away, and simply didn't have enough siege. I think VortiX, if he gets like 2 Culverins out, he cannot be broken.
It's very difficult from there on out. He could even go for the Sprills, to be honest. Like, the shutter triggers are pretty good, and obviously they move quicker than the Culverins. But right now, for those watching, if you're a big Beasty fan, you're like, no, Beasty son, please don't lose. Don't worry. Beasty, if he does lose here, as you know, it's the winner bracket finals. I know, it's crazy. Age of Empires 4, we have double Elim, which means he'll go down to the lower bracket tomorrow, where we'll face off against Marine Lord and have a chance at revenge. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. VortiX still has to close this game out for the clean sweep. And he's going to look to get aggressive, but Beasty's going to jump the gun first. He moves in with the keep right outside of VortiX's base, and a quick response. He sees it all. He marches out. Look at the fight. Mangonel fire coming in. Nice side step by the man-at-arms. And the Horseman will force the villagers away. Only a half-complete keep. The wrap around the man-at-arms. The line is not long enough. Beastyqt might lose the back line. Horseman right in. Man-at-arms in. Onto the Mangonels. A heavy cost for Beastyqt. Without the siege, he cannot win this fight.
But also heavy losses for VortiX, but I think Imp Army against Castle Army will simply be good enough. Now the Coverine is arriving as well. That means the Springles shouldn't do enough. And look at that, Men-at-Arms are just rolling over Beastyqt. VortiX very likely to go through into the grand finals, coming out of the winner bracket finals. Only has to play one set tomorrow, best of 7 against the winner of Beastyqt and Marine Lord.
The villagers! VortiX has just pulled so many. It's like, you guys are cheap cannon fodder. Make good use. Build me a keep. And look how long it took. The keep won't be complete. VortiX at least gets his up and mocks Beasty as a result. And now he can push him away. Barely any army left. Beasty struggling to replace it as well. Food gathering is comparable, so the front line should be replaced in similar quantities. But right now the concern is that passive generation.
Look at the wall in!
Oh my.
The delete at 99%.
That's pain. And it looks like he will just not need those walls as he forces the cancel out of Beasty. Beasty to retreat. Like we said, it's the deciding game. Unlikely to wave the white flag early. And the good news, at least, if you're a Beasty fan, is he does have the sacred sites, but he needs to hold them for 9 minutes, and he's still a whole tech behind.
VortiX goes AFK for the next 9 minutes. Beastyqt wins. What do we need to do as fans of Beastyqt to make that one happen?
Well, he's got enough for keeps on all the sacred sites, but as we know, Imperial Age doesn't care about that.
Okay.
I would trade the stone, actually. I would sell the stone so that I can build more siege.
More Springles.
Because that's the way you win this.
Buy yourself some more time.
It's awkward. Like, he could try transitioning into cavalry because he's now building siege up against better siege, right? VortiX, if he wants, he's got the culverins. He can even go for Springles with shot triggers. Right now, VortiX is a greedy boy when it comes to how little siege he has. Despite the fact he has an Imperial Age tech up advantage, he only has 3 siege units, 1 of each, in fact. He just wants, like, he's that person who goes in and just gets the samples of each ice cream flavor. I want a culverin, I want a bombard, I want a Mangonel. But it does mean that technically Beasty could just zerg him with Mangonels, right? And just like anti-clump him to death.
Ooh, elite land snake upgrade as well. So we'll do quite some major damage there in the big fights. Obviously not that great against the Mangonels, but Beastyqt not a single Mangonel on the field anymore. Only 7 Springles. Wow. They will have quite some punch here.
This is really ballsy by VortiX. He's playing his hand blind, right? Like, they're both playing blind vision, but BC's anticipating that his opponent has siege. It just makes sense, right? Like, his siege is better because he's Imperial. He should be building siege. So BC, wanting to protect that element of the gameplay, has fully invested in Springles and doesn't have any answer to clump infantry, which is exactly the strategy that VortiX is applying.
Next Coverine for VortiX. Goes for the siege upgrade out of his blacksmith as well. It's not enough bombards for my taste. VortiX also not raiding. Beastyqt now walling in his opponent. Both players pop 160. Did we call it too early?
Maybe, because he's buying time. This is all wasting time, importantly for those sacred sites. But you can see VortiX is moving for the left one. He knows his opponent cannot breach his base quick enough due to the walling. So instead, he'll decap that unguarded sacred site, and BC is back at step 1. He needs a tech up or he needs a decisive win in a fight, because right now he cannot rely upon the win condition of sacred sites.
He's getting reasonable resources though. Security might actually get Imp here. 1 minute of idling. He can sit back. Keep in the center, will get lost though. Beastyqt did a beautiful job of prolonging this game. I counted him out, and oh boy was I wrong.
Well, he has to keep running though, because he has no answer to the clump infantry. That's the issue. Right now, BC's win condition in these fights seems to rely upon VortiX accidentally clicking his army underneath a keep with boiling oil, because he's got nothing else working for him at the second. But look at this. He's trying to sneak in for a keep drop, but it's going to be spotted out. He'll go for it. He finds a little bit of wiggle room, but it's not exactly the biggest denier. And admittedly, if they pull out the shivs, I'm pretty sure VortiX could kill the villagers, but instead he'll back away and say, fine, have your fun. Because right now, I'm standing outside your base ready to move in.
Just send one bombard over and eventually you will kill that keep anyways. I think this is mainly distraction for Beastyqt. I think he's mainly trying to buy himself some more time. Builds another keep at the front, but how? And I'm looking at landmarks here.
Yep. He's going to move in. It's a hefty one to siege through. And look at this. Mangonels are in play. Beasty has the solution. And VortiX with only 2 culprits. Now he can insta-snipe them. But if he gets caught out of position, he will be ran through. The issue for Beasty, however, is that he does not have a quick gap closer as he never built into cavalry.
Oh, now some stables here. Cavalry
Springles,
getting
Springles.
some shots in.
All right. Just out for a stroll in the fields. They'll be redirected towards their base by VortiX. Nice Mangonel hit, though. And it's more
trying
keeps.
to make something more happen.
Beasty, like, this is smart, to be honest. Like, VortiX is not giving enough credit to the importance of these keeps because he was like, I let it distract me too much in game 1. I'm not going to fall for it again. So instead, he goes for a trade. He tries to take out the TC. Meanwhile, Beasty and his little gang of explorers are going deeper into the back of VortiX's base. They need the stone to build a new keep, and they just got it. And it's not being denied again.
What is happening here?
VortiX isn't noticing. Or he just doesn't care. But it's going to hurt his economy a little bit. He needs to get a decisive strike into the base, and he's on the military district. So Beasty, he will be forced to fight soon. Has a sizable military force, though, up at 100 units. VortiX only at 71. Quality over quantity.
Okay. 21 is not crazy, right? 123 villagers, maybe an overboard.
Here we go.
Now maybe going for the big engagement here. 2 Mangonels at the front.
He's going to try to take them out. Mangonel's looking for the clump, but you can see the way VortiX shifts past. He's trying to envelop here with the holdback, the spears, keeping him at bay for the moment. The Langsdeck are being poked and prodded down. The Springles being sacrificed to the great god VortiX just to trade out. Look at the culverins, so the Mangonels can keep firing. At the end of this, VortiX might lose his army, but the Langsdeck are starting to clean up. As they move in and swing their swords, they're decapitating several soldiers at a time. And at the end of this fight, it looks like Beasty should be able to hold. But there's not much left of his army, and he needs to rebuild his military district. And the keep was denied. The villagers got chased down. Vorti's boys finally got their shivs out.
Oh, some siege still left there for VortiX, but he can replenish it so much easier. Look at his resources. Look at his production. While on the other side, Beastyqt nothing in the queue. Pop 108, but he's chasing down the cavalry.
I've got more villagers where they came from. Suck on this. Culverin down. 1,000 resources. Worth it. Oh! Hey, Bada. Swing. Oh my god, Langsdeck. It's so demoralizing to watch when you have villagers like that. They were unarmed. No, they weren't. They had torches in their hands.
Then it's fair.
Yeah, they were armed. they just didn't have good weapons. It's their fault for bringing a torch to a sword fight, you know? But after that, like, VortiX, overall, his economy is pretty comfortable. Beasty, he's almost ready for Imperial Age. But he needs to replace his army, and that's kind of the issue. If he goes for it now, he needs to make sure he zooms the next round of resources to build up his army. Because right now, he's sitting at 27. VortiX up at 41 with all the tech upgrades already in place.
Elite Horseman, now the direction VortiX is going for. Not the craziest food income, 1.2k per minute Beastyqt. 100 food per minute right now. Pop 106. Do you think he will reach pop limit this game?
It depends if VortiX runs his army through TC, through Mangonels, and loses that again. Maybe. Might just be in villages at this rate. If he can recover on that front, because he's pretty damn far behind VortiX. Look at the eco difference. That's really what's mattering here is he's draining the map. By the way, I'm going to say something controversial, and someone's definitely going to call me out on it and have a fight with me about it. I think that Abbasid's spears are actually not that terrible against Langsdeck. They're not great, but they're much better than any other Civ's version of spears because of phalanx. They're able to attack the double.
Damage.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yes, you're being splash damaged, but because you have phalanx, double the amount of units are able to attack those Langsdeck. So it's very important if VortiX wants to win these fights that he keeps this ratio up. He can't afford to go heavy in the Langsdeck because otherwise you have a very non-tanky unit taking double the amount of damage from spears. And late game spears do hurt.
Also, Horseman, not really the unit that will deal pretty... Oh, not a single farm upgrade for VortiX. That hurts. Now some raid there at the top as well. Yeah, mass phalanx, spearmen. A reasonable unit, certainly. But still, in small numbers, men-at-arms just completely wrecking them. Sacred sites getting neutralized. And VortiX sits at pop 200, Beastyqt. He didn't climb a lot in the last 3 minutes where we didn't have any fights.
And this tech up is complete, but his army is not. He increased it by like, what, 10? Meanwhile, VortiX premium number went up by like, what, 20? About to make that 30? This is not good. This is going to sting. He's going to be hard-pressed to defend this. He has 2 mangonels to rely upon. And if you look, you may notice that VortiX has a good solution. He's got multiple culverins and bombards, so his trades will go well.
Let's take a look. I think Security ideally wants to buy himself some time, but House of Wisdom, 17,000 HP, but against some bombards not holding endlessly.
Yeah, House of Wisdom not looking so smart when it's under fire like this. The bombards are going to make sure it work, and it's going to force a fight before Beasty's ready. And he's so fragile right now. VortiX understands that after all the sacrifice of villages, his economy isn't strong. So he just invested 3,600 resources, and that means he must have gaps elsewhere. And we can see if Beasty's floating too much gold and not much of anything else, and he will instantly call the GG. VortiX will not even get to finish them off, but he will finish off this series with a clean sweep, sticking him as the first person in the grand finals for the open battlefield round of Golden League.
What a crazy performance there by VortiX. And we saw Beastyqt knowing exactly what he wanted to do, went for Camel Archer, went for the towers, and wanted to prevent the HRE player from getting to those relics. But VortiX, with such a clean build order, reached Castle Age at like 7 minute 30. Oh no, what we can see, 8:30. And Beastyqt not prepared for that. And therefore 3 relics, pretty much uncontested for VortiX.
So it's interesting because I feel like Beasty, he had the scouting info and then he got forced away by the stable. This is the power of Horsemen, by the way. This is why I always say Horsemen are just like the premium unit for Feudal. You can deny vision. At the highest, like at my level, like our levels, the lower levels, some people in chat where you're like, I want to be in a low elo tournament. It probably doesn't matter as much. You can play your blind strategy, and if you perfect a macro, you'll come out on top. At the highest level, especially these 2 players, they respond. They always play scouting vision heavily. The Craft Boys have always led the way with this. And because of the power of Horsemen via their movement speed, if you have scouts parked outside your opponent's base, they can be chased down and killed. The Horseman is the only unit that can do this successfully, outside of like a Khan maybe. And that's important because what happens is Beasty goes from having all the vital info to losing the info. Once he loses this information, he feels uncomfortable about the timings. And you saw it with the way he moved out to outpost spam on the relics. It's too late because he probably assumes at that stage that VortiX has doubled down on some feudal aggression to try and end the series quickly. And it will have enough time to get defenses in place. But as we saw, VortiX min-maxed his castle age time as much as he could. He built enough units to keep Beasty at bay, but not enough that he sacrificed his own timing. And that's exactly why he was able to get free relics so quickly.
What a beautiful, beautiful build order by VortiX. And then after 3 relics, it felt like Beastyqt was on a timer. And he didn't really find the damage early on. What a crazy game. VortiX 3-0. And we'll be happy to see that Beastyqt and Marine Lord are battling it out tomorrow morning.